Hey there, can I sit with you for a moment? There's something many people carry quietly, but rarely admit because they're afraid of what it might say about them. It's that unsettling question that appears when life feels slower than expected, or when another year passes and things still don't look the way you once imagined. What if I never become anything? Not necessarily famous, not necessarily extraordinary. Just something. Someone you can point to with certainty and say, there, that's who I was meant to be. And maybe what makes that question so painful isn't ambition. I don't think this fear comes from vanity. I think it comes from the simple desire to know that your life matters, to know that all your effort, all your hoping, all your trying to hold things together wasn't for nothing. Because most of us grew up carrying pictures in our minds, pictures of who we'd become, how we'd feel, how certain we'd be by now. And when life unfolds differently, it's easy to assume something went wrong, that perhaps everyone else received some map you somehow missed, that maybe you've fallen behind, or worse, that maybe you'll never become the person you were supposed to be. And I just want to say something gently. I don't know who convinced us that a meaningful life had to look impressive. I don't know when we started measuring human worth by achievements and milestones, but I think many of us have spent years trying to earn the right to feel like we matter, as though being kind, being present, being honest, being someone others can lean on somehow counts less. And I don't believe that's true, because when I think about the people who've left the deepest marks on my life, I rarely think about how accomplished they were. I remember their warmth, the way they listened, the way they stayed, the way they made difficult seasons feel less lonely. And perhaps that kind of impact matters more than we often realize. I know that may not completely quiet the fear. Maybe you're exhausted from wondering when your life will finally begin. And if that's where you are, I hope you won't punish yourself for it. These are heavy questions, and heavy questions deserve compassion, not shame. Maybe the pressure you've been carrying comes from believing that becoming something is a destination, as though one day you'll arrive and finally receive permission to feel enough. But maybe life isn't asking that of you. Maybe meaning isn't hiding somewhere far ahead. Maybe it has been quietly present all along, in the people you've cared for, in the burdens you've carried, in the times you chose to keep going when nobody saw how difficult it was, in the kindness you've offered while fighting battles you never spoke about, and in the simple fact that despite disappointments and unanswered questions, you're still here, still hoping, still capable of loving and being loved. And I don't think that's a small thing. So if you've been asking yourself, what if I never become anything? Maybe you don't need to answer that tonight. Maybe the quieter question is this: have I remained human? Have I remained capable of love? Because those things matter more than this world sometimes knows how to measure. So rest if you're tired. Grieve what didn't happen. Hope for what still might. But please, don't mistake being unfinished for being insignificant. Because while you were worried about becoming something, you had quietly, imperfectly, beautifully been someone.